Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Discussion video. And today, we are discussing Volcanic Doomfire. Quite a darn scary looking card, isn't it? 3000 attack and 1800 defense. It is a Pyro-type fire attribute monster. What else could it be? Maybe a rock type. Maybe. But yeah, Pyro Fire. And does this text even fit? Let's go. Let's take a look at exactly what it is. This card cannot be normal summon or set. This card can only be special summoned by sending a face-up Tri-Blaze Accelerator you control to the graveyard. Okay? During your opponent's battle phase, your opponent must attack this monster with any attack position monsters they control. When this card destroys a monster and sends it to the graveyard, destroy all monsters your opponent controls and inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each monster destroyed by this effect. So, quite a few effects. Can't be normal summon or set. That's about it. You can't tribute summon it. You have to bring it out via Tri-Blaze Accelerator. So let's take a look at that card first. That is this continuous spell, which can only be activated by sending a face a Blaze Accelerator, another spell, on your side of the field to the grave. And then it has another effect, which, well, I suppose kind of nice, but not super fancy. Blaze Accelerator being another continuous spell. So the quickest way to get Volcanic Doomfire out is actually just during your first turn. If you open all these three cards, activate Blaze Accelerator, send to graveyard, play Tri-Blaze, send to graveyard, summon Volcanic Doomfire. Generally, you want to keep it in your hand for like that first turn. Maybe you do want to use Blaze Accelerator, although no, you can't actually do that because they don't have a monster. If they go first, but it's your first turn, then you may want to. But then again, you could also just summon Doomfire and go and attack with it. That is it. Another way to do it, though, it states Tri-Blaze Accelerator. However, this card and Blaze Accelerator both aren't used very often in Volcanics. Volcanics themselves aren't necessarily a great deck. However, I believe it was last year, a little over a year ago, the Volcanics did quite well in the meta. They weren't like at the top. They didn't top that much, but they did top sometimes. And that was due to this card, Blaze Accelerator Reload. This card, for one, was able to just set up your graveyard with a few things, but especially alongside Volcanic Scattershot, this could, one, deal a decent amount of damage, but also just wipe out all the opponent's monsters. That already made Volcanics good. And why was Volcanic Doomfire then used in some of those decks? Because Blaze Accelerator Reload's name becomes Tri-Blaze Accelerator while in the Spell and Trap Zone. Not anywhere else, but it's the Spell and Trap Zone where it matters. Because if it's active, name becomes Tri-Blaze Accelerator, you can send it to the graveyard for Volcanic Doomfire. And then, you could just use the other effect of Blaze Accelerator Reload, because it has a graveyard-bound effect that could also be really darn useful, once again, with Volcanic Scattershot. And in the meantime, you have Volcanic Doomfire on the field, something that can be pretty darn useful and well, dangerous. Dangerous, I believe, the better word. Next part of the effect, during your opponent's battle phase, your opponent must attack this card with any attack position monster they control. Okay, let's say the opponent has 3 monsters. None of them have attack that's equal to or higher than Doomfire. None of them have an effect or an card equipped to them that can make them overcome Doomfire's 3000 attack. So what does the opponent do? Just play them in defense position. If they're not in attack position, if they are in attack position, switch them to defense position. Quite simple, right? Yeah. However, there are a few cards. I don't know. Let's see. Battle Mania comes up. Final Attack Orders. I don't know. I'm not sure if all of them do, but some of them I know force monsters into attack position. One of them, like Final Attack Orders, Battle Mania, maybe they both just force an attack if in attack position. One of them might actually switch from defense to attack and also force the attack. I'm not entirely sure. We could actually look that up in a moment. I will. But if you do that, the opponent has the monsters. They are forced into attack position. Let's say they have a monster of 2500 attack, 1800, and 200. The 200 was already in defense. The other 2 were switched to defense because you brought Doomfire out. You use your trap, they're forced to attack into you. So that's 3 battles won, and that's, well, they probably will attack with the 2500 attacker first because least amount of damage. Would the next effect of Doomfire not apply, that would mean so much more damage. However, let's look at that next effect. When this card destroys a monster and sends it to the graveyard, destroy all monsters your opponent controls and inflict 500 damage to your opponent. Once again, that example of the 3 monsters, the opponent attacks into you with one of them. Loses some life points, monster destroyed, sent to the graveyard. Doomfire effect activates, all the others are destroyed, 500 damage for each monster destroyed. So that would be 1000 because 2 others are destroyed. Would that effect not have applied? Or would that next effect have been optional? Then you would probably not use it, because once again, with the continuous trap active that I mentioned before, that forces the attack, they would be forced to one attack with the 1800 attacker, and then with the 200, so that's 1200 and another 2800 to total 4000 damage, which is a lot. They would need to have 2 more monsters of 2500 attack or more to not make it worth it to use the other effect. Thing is, what you can do, Marshmallow, Spirit Reaper, Arcana for Zero the Fool that was set first. Force them into attack position, force them to attack. Let's say the opponent is stalling with multiple of them. Let's say one of each, once again. They are forced to attack into you. Marshmallow and Spirit Reaper both 300 attack, Arcana for Zero the Fool, nothing. Spirit Reaper attacks. Loses the battle, 2700 damage. However, it's not destroyed by battle. None of them are. So, Doomfire's next effect doesn't apply, it doesn't destroy all of them. But your trap card still forces all monsters to do battle. Spirit Reaper has attacked, doesn't have to attack again because it's normal to only attack once. Marshmallow and Arcana for Zero the Fool would still have to attack. That's 8,400 damage if you can somehow manage that field. It's unlikely, but it's possible if you can just catch a weak monster that can't be destroyed in battle. Weak in attack points anyway. That is a way to really make use of Doomfire. Because, let's think of this. Your opponent must attack this monster with any attack position monster they control. Why is that important? Well, if it's the only monster on the field and you have that thing that forces battle, then obviously it's gonna battle. And it's also, during your opponent's battle phase, they don't have to go into battle phase. They can leave their monster in attack position all they want, which is what I forgot a moment ago. They can leave them in attack position and go straight from main phase 1 to end phase. It doesn't say they're forced to go through the battle phase. It's just when it happens, they must attack Doomfire. However, pretty sure the trap does force them to go into battle phase. Also, when this card destroys a monster and sends it to the graveyard. I was thinking about that, because that doesn't say destroy by battle. However, the only other way Volcanic Doomfire would destroy a monster and send it to the graveyard is via its other effect. I'm thinking, how would Volcanic Doomfire leave a monster on the field after using that last effect? It might be a monster that once per turn isn't destroyed by battle or card effects. You destroy a different monster by battle, attempt to destroy it. Let's say, once again, there are 3 monsters on the field, one of which once per turn can't be destroyed by card effects. They attack with a different monster. Attack into Doomfire. Monster is destroyed. Doomfire effect. Attempts to destroy the other 2, but one of them isn't destroyed because of effect. The last monster is, because no effect. That would then, I assume, trigger, once again, this effect when this card destroys a monster and sends it to the graveyard, because that happened. Destroy all monsters your opponent controls and inflict 500 damage. It says and inflict. Sure, it's no problem solving card text, but it makes me assume that counts as simultaneous. So the when effect would be able to once again trigger. If you can come up with another situation how that effect would apply and then be useful again to activate it a second time, if there's monster left, if you can come up with something else than just a monster that isn't destroyed by card effects once per turn, I'd like to know, because I'm pretty darn sure there have to be other ways. They don't have to be competitive or useful in any way. I just want the possibilities. Think of any card that has that. Okay, that's quite a bit of about Doomfire from me. Let's see what the tips have to say about it. Can we search? There. I actually forgot to show the trap. All face-up monsters on the field are changed to attack position. Battle positions cannot be changed. Doesn't force them into battle phase. And if we look at Doomfire, during your opponent's battle phase, your opponent must attack this monster. Once again, clarified on Doomfire, nor on final attack orders does it force them to go into battle phase. They have to attack if they enter the battle phase. Let's see what Battle Mania. During a standby phase, all face of monster opponents change to attack position. They cannot. All monster opponents must attack this turn if able. Since they are forced into attack position, they are able to attack. And it doesn't specifically state we force you to go into battle phase. You have to conduct your battle phase. They have to conduct the attack because they're able, but to actually perform the attack, you have to go into battle phase. So this pretty much forces the monster into battle phase. It's only a normal trap, so it only applies for one turn, but it can be useful. Final attack is in light of intervention, so they have to be in attack position. But remember, doesn't force them into battle phase, so they can just go right into end phase. Use the above strategy, but also activate Ojama Trio for a one-turn kill. No. That's not a one-turn kill. When this card destroys a monster and sends it to the graveyard, destroy all monsters your opponent controls and inflict 500 damage. Like, none of the traps that we've seen so far force the monsters to attack all simultaneously. If there would be 3 Ojama tokens, one of them would attack first. Be destroyed, 3,000 damage. Doomfire's effect would then activate, destroy the other two, another additional 1,000 damage, 500 each, to make it 4,000. And then 3,000 from each of the tokens that were destroyed, plus another 3,000 from the first one, additional 900, that's 4,900 damage. So I think this one got it wrong. Maybe I got it wrong, so let me know. Quickly summon a first turn Blaze and Tri-Blaze. Blaze is kind of the real best, better alternative, however, can't be done during your first turn because it's a trap card, and you just generally cannot activate trap cards during your first turn. Normal summon DD Guide in attack position, giving it control of it to your opponent in the process. What? DD Guide. Normal summon, give control of it to your opponent. Each player's end phase, your opponent selects one card from the grave of this card's controller and removes it from play. Alongside Mesmeric Control. Just the use of Doomfire seems a bit too situational and too far-fetched. There's other things that are more useful. Go on the hunt to special Volcanic Doom for the opponent's battle phase. Yeah, that's the thing about Doomfire. This is the case on Volcanic Queen as well, and was the case with Lava Golem, which is how I knew it for Queen. It says this card can only be special summoned, If this were a problem-solving card text, this would mean that Doomfire would not be summonable via Monster Reborn, Call of the Hunted, Oasis of Dragon Souls, anything that revives it from the graveyard. However, it is possible. Thing is, Lava Golem now states this card must first be special summoned by attributing 2 of the opponent's monsters, Originally, it was like this. It can only be special summoned by, but in problem solving card deck it was specified. First, do it appropriately. Don't have it be negated by summon warning, because then it doesn't count as being a proper thing, like with the few with XC summons, for example. If it's properly summoned, Lava Golem with the 2 monsters attributed, Volcanic Queen with 1, or Volcanic Doomfire with sending Tri-Blaze away. If that's successful, the monster hits the field, not negated by something like Solemn Warning. Then later on, if they hit the graveyard, you can bring them back with Call of the Haunted, which you can do, as it says here, during the opponent's battle phase. And if you have something that forces them to attack, well, you don't even need it, because Volcanic Doomfire forces you to attack it. Oh, something I forgot earlier when I was talking about the other things. Doomfire forces you to attack it. This is indeed how this tip from just now comes into play. Let's say you don't have a card that forces monsters into attack position. How can this still be useful? Well, Let's say you just have a weak volcanic monster on the field, something with 500 life points, volcanic shell, 500, pretty sure it's 500 attack. Let's say for whatever reason you just have that in attack mode. Opponent has 3 monsters in attack position, like 1400 attack or an 1800 and a 25. They're like, attack! And then they enter battle phase and you're like, Call of the Haunted, Doomfire back. Assuming it was properly summoned and now in the graveyard. Doomfire back. They're all in attack position and they all have to attack Doomfire. Sure, they'd probably still attack with just 2500 and then have them all be destroyed for less damage, but you get rid of all their monsters. If you have multiple monsters in the field, Doomfire forces the opponent's monster to attack it. If there's another useful but more vulnerable monster, then that is sort of protected by Doomfire. Still, things like Regeki, Dark Hole, and like other card effects will be able to take that monster out, but purely battle, Doomfire protects them. Use Marshmallow or Spirit Reaper, yep. An unfortunate report. Opponent conducts the battle phase twice. Okay. Do note that it doesn't force them into battle phase. It's when they do enter the battle phase, right after battle phase, they go into battle phase again. That's but you do have to force them into battle phase. But like Battle Mania, you could do that. However, that would only be useful with Marshmallow because without a card that can't be destroyed by battle, like let's say they have Dark Magician, they attack, you force them to attack into you. The rest of their monster are also destroyed with Doomfire's effect. They don't have anything to attack with during the second battle phase. So only with cards like Marshmallow is that actually useful. Attacking isn't necessary. True. Yeah, you can just inflict effect damage with other things. If they have like Mirror Force or something that you, or Dimensional Prison that you expect. Use Canyon, DNA Surgery, make it Rock type. Battle Mania, D2 Shield. Yeah, okay, yeah, you could, yeah. But it's a little far-fetched, I would say. Use Zombie World to change to Zombie type. Use Ill Blood and Book of Life to make a good search and revival engine for the card. I suppose you could run this. But to be able to have it revived by either of these cards, Volcanic Doomfire, once again, would have to be properly summoned first, which means you need Tri-Blaze or Blaze Accelerator Reload, and this card would then only be really useful with Scattershot. So you'd have to run the zombie deck, but with Reload, probably with Scattershot, maybe a Shell, but generally Scattershot, and Doomfire. Would be an interesting way, Zombie Volcanics with Zombie World. Interesting idea. I'll consider it. Could stop your opponent's Earthbound Immortals from attacking you directly, because they can, but Doomfire forces the monster to attack them. Use this card with Coffin Cell, Dark Room, and Nightmare. Because that's once it's destroyed. Each time a monster sent to the opponent's graveyard, 300 damage to the opponent. Dark Room, isn't that similar? Oh no, when they take damage from a card effect, inflict 300 damage, so... although if it's just the second one, Dark Room, then it would only activate once because it's also all the damage is simultaneous from Doomfire. However, you would use well, let's say 3 months on the field, both Coffin Solid, Dark Room active, and then Doomfire. One monster would attack into Doomfire. Battle damage happens, Doomfire destroys it. Effect activates, but Coffin Cellar also activates. Which one will go first? One will send to the grave. Both. Doesn't matter. Are they if or when effects? I need to know this, because this is going to be a chain of multiple things. Each time your opponent is... It doesn't specifically state it. Each time. It doesn't say if. I'll take... No, it's mandatory, so it can't miss timing anyway, so it doesn't matter. The other one, pretty sure it isn't either. So, what would happen? Coffin Cellar and Doomfire would activate. Doomfire would destroy the others, inflict 500 damage. Coffin Cellar would inflict 300 damage. These are two things that inflict effect damage. Let's say Coffin Cellar resolves first, so it's Chainlink 2. and that inflicts effect damage. That is a trigger for Darkroom and Nightmare. Can't activate yet because chain is still resolving. I should probably just open that page as well, because this is chain. This is sort of like ruling stuff or something. Darkroom and Nightmare. Let's open them up. Darkroom, Coffin Cellar. Okay. Okay, so this is Chain Link 2. 300 damage. That triggers this one, because it's mandatory. It triggers this one, but because the chain is still resolving, it can't do anything about it. It can't inflict the damage yet. But it remembers. It has met its trigger. Then, Doomfire resolves, destroys the monsters, and inflicts 500 damage. Happens simultaneously if the AND is correct, as it would be now in the way of problem-solving card text. Destroys monsters and inflicts damage. The damage part would then trigger Darkroom and Nightmare again. Which means, but it's each time your opponent takes damage from a card effect. That happens once with Doomfire, so it would trigger itself again. So that's 2 times that Darkroom and Nightmare would activate. In addition, monsters are sent to the graveyard simultaneously, so Coffin Cellar would activate again. The second, in this case, the second Darkroom and Nightmare and the one Coffin Cellar doesn't matter in which order. Let's say Coffin Cellar last. Coffin Cellar just inflicts the 300 damage. Okay, so we have a new chain: 2 Darkroom and Nightmare, 1 Coffin Cellar. Coffin Cellar inflicts damage. Hey, trigger for Darkroom and Nightmare. Need to remember. Then Darkroom and Nightmare 300 damage, and Darkroom and Nightmare 300 damage. Chain done resolving. Darkroom and Nightmare will activate again because in the previous chain, Coffin Cellar did a thing. You're confused yet? Because it happens, and it's in a slightly different order if, like you choose like how Doomfire and Coffin Cellar go in a chain, or Darkroom and Coffin Cellar, and like you can choose them differently because they have Doomfire and Coffin Cellar originally would activate at the same time, and then later Darkroom and Coffin Cellar as well. Well, the second Darkroom anyway. The first one is because of Coffin Cellar, so that doesn't work. But okay, done with that. Done with the confusing chain building, but that is a good thing to know. How do these things build chains? If you do not understand this at all, and if you would like me to go over it in a Rulings with Alka video, let me know. I'd gladly go over things with chains. Yeah, I'll do that. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do that. Let's see. Use Solar Fire to banish this card and inflict 1500 damage to your opponent's life points. Opponent draws a card, select the Pyro type from deck, remove from play. Damage your opponent, you could have the attack. You could do that as sort of a, if the opponent has 1500 or less life points left and you know you have a Doomfire left in the deck, you could use this to finish the game off. I suppose it could be done. Equipping Big Bang Shot to this card will enable it to deal piercing damage to your opponent's life points while granting it 400 extra attack. Yeah, but I'd still prefer to use like Fairy Meteor Crush to just give it piercing, because once Big Bang Shot leaves the field, the equipped monster is banished, and that's bad. And that also means it can't be brought back with Call of the Haunted, which you may have at 1 or 2 in the deck. And just MSD is there a lot, so that could just take out your entire synergy. Okay, lots of tips. Trivia. Cover card for Force of the Breaker. Right? Yeah, it's right there, so yeah. I vaguely remembered it, but not really. Strongest Pyro type monster with just 3000 attack? I suppose 3000. Okay. This monster appears in the artworks of Volcanic Wall and Volcanic Curse. Okay. This card represents Axel's father, and direct if you don't know who Axel is, that's someone from the GX anime. He plays Volcanics. Volcanic Queen, the mother. Related to the buff trivia on the artwork of this card, specifically on the monster's left hand, is what is apparently a man on fire. This is similar to the artwork of Volcanic Queen, where you can clearly see a woman on fire. Huh? There actually is a woman on fire. I never noticed this. It's just like like a lot of red and yellow and a bit of orange, and then some white lines just show that it's like light. And I never noticed that. And what about where's? No, here's Doomfire. What was on his left hand? A man that is on fire. Well, there will have to be this, I guess. It's not too clear for me. Maybe if I would hold the card in my hand, but I don't have it. I'd have to take another look at it. Look at a real life card from even closer than this, even though this picture's pretty big. But okay. Quite a lot of interesting things about Volcanic Doomfire that were able to be said. Tips page had a lot, and there was even sort of a rulings with Auka hidden into this video. So once again, with the chain building and the chain that would then force another chain, which then forces another chain, if you would like to go over chain building in general, and then as an advanced part, which I'll probably do at the end of the video, like the chain that builds a chain that builds a chain, like that. If you want me to go over that in a rulings with Auka video where I talk specifically about rulings, please let me know, because I've been requested to do that before, but it was much easier for chain building. If you want me to go to a bit more of advanced things like this, let me know. But then I'll also find some examples of optional effects also going in, and how the chain link order then matters, and how pretty sure somewhere in a Skype conversation with Ben, like one of my friends from the US, I have a really long thing with that. Anyway, let me know if you want that. This was the Yu-Gi-Oh! Discussion video for Volcanic Doomfire. Hope you enjoyed it. Damn, that was a long video. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.